was building on the lecture. Verses coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true stock trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking one shot for the kill. The breeze cut, freeze up, straight dropping the chills. I'm talking taking over pieces and shares. A ball break sky high. Check the movement is here. Yeah. It's one heart, one shot. Now the future is yours. Go. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. We put the balls in the brakes. I'm talking one.
On behalf of the Cal Alumni Association, I would like to welcome you to the Who Are We Now discussion series. I'm Elijah Hicks, class of 2020, and for this discussion, we have two exceptional Black athletes here to discuss their journey of self-discovery amid the pandemic and recent acts of police violence against Black men. We hope that people can relate to and be inspired by what promise to be an authentic and honest conversation. I'd like to introduce Joe Spano, who will be hosting our discussion. Joe is an Emmy Award winning who played Tobias Fornell and NCIS for 17 years. He also played Lieutenant Henry Goldblum on the series Hill Street Blues. Joe graduated from Cal in 1967. He majored in theater arts. And with that being said, I'd like to turn this over to Joe. Welcome, Joe.
Thanks, Elijah, and thank you all for joining us for this conversation this morning. If you want to hear Elijah talking the same kind of conversation, we did it a few weeks ago, and you can find that on the Alumni Association website. Today, we're going to talk with Evan Rambo, Cal 2019, and Marcel Dancy, Cal 2021, two extraordinary young men and athletes. And I'd like to start with something that has nothing to do with what we really want to talk about, and that's your email addresses. Marcel, I have you at Bubba MD 23. What's the story about that?
Yeah, so Bubba is a nickname that I had growing up and have to this day by my family. And MD is my initials and 23 is my number. So that's how that came about.
Oh, cool. So that's all together. And can you remember it? You know what it is?
Yeah. I'm pretty familiar with it.
Can't remember my stuff at all. Evan, you've got Rambo 96. What's the story there?
It's just simple. Last name, year of birth. Just trying to keep everything simple. I want to complicate things that don't need to be complicated. But I like Marcel's because I know a lot of kids who they nicknames stick with them from birth to now. So that's a smooth way to remember everything. It's pretty cool.
Do you have a nickname?
No, everybody just called me Rambo from the time I was a kid to now. It's like it just stuck. And even before I saw any of the movies or anything, it was like, oh, Rambo. I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but all right, that's cool.
Do you know the history of that name?
Yeah, I mean, not extensively. It only goes back so far, but I think everybody knows the movies more than anything. So that's where it comes from, especially playing football. So it's like, Rambo, he has to do something on the field. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'll just undue pressure.
So guys, this is called Who Are We Now, which is something I think we're asking each other every day, asking ourselves, and now we're asking each other. Marcel, or whoever wants to speak first. Well, Marcel, if you had to describe yourself right now, what would you say about yourself? If somebody asked you, and who are you, Marcel? What would you say?
I'm a man that's really big on family, and it's really important to me to set a good example for the younger folks in our community. And I know that I'm a role model now. And that's something that I take very seriously. I don't take for granted because I know who's watching me and watching how I go about my business. So that's who I see myself as right now.
That's great. Evan, I mean, how would you describe yourself? Who are you? Yeah.
I guess I'm more of an uh, observant man in a sense. I can just most of the time just I'm trying to see how things are, how things were, and try to figure out how things can be uh, in a sense. So, and that could just be in different facets, different aspects, just in either family, education, work. Uh, I'm an observant man. I'm trying to see if there's different avenues to change myself, change the world, change just the little things that I'm involved with.
I'm so glad you guys started with things about yourself as a person. We could also get into, you're both are or have been football players for UC Berkeley. You're both obviously part of this community, which is a community of Black athletes in general, but we're talking about being a Black athlete at UC Berkeley. And Marcel, you're still on the team. You're still playing. Well, you will be playing as soon as we start playing again.
Yeah.
So what is your situation there? You're a senior.
Mm-hmm.
And this year you would have dealt with the draft if you've been playing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how does that feel to have that slowed up, that whole process, giving you a year?
Well, the NCAA giving us a year back really put a lot of us at ease, especially me in my situation being a senior. I now have comfortability to play this season and if need be, play the next following season. And I'm really just excited to hear about us getting back and having some type of date to look forward to get the season started.
Yeah. And Evan, you're out of school now, and you're on to other things. And one of those things is being coming up with ideas for products and for things to make the world better too, I assume. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now.
Well, I finished playing football a couple months ago, so I'm just finishing up my MBA right now. And I'm just looking right now, just working as a intern for Lotus Advisory, really a fellow, and just understanding just the different ways right now that the sports industry and the different aspects of sports can help and tie into like philanthropy and race and equity, and trying to understand what are these links and how can we make sure that these chains and these ties are a lot stronger to create more actionable change for people. So just currently finishing up education and just really trying to figure out more of a path to help more people.
Great. And this idea of entrepreneurship was something that was kindled in you at UC Berkeley, wasn't it? Didn't you take part in a class?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
When I was a junior, I believe it was 2017 or 18, I took part in this sports tech class. It was through the Saturga Center for Entrepreneurship and Technology. And it was just a random luck of the draw type of thing, just to find this class and in the center that's right next to the stadium. And it was really just out of my comfort zone. It was something that I had no idea what to expect once to go into it. But once I was in it, I realized, wow, I really love and understand business. There's just a creative side to trying to figure out solutions in the world, even if it's just in sports, like just how to create or make a player better through something you develop. Just the creativity that comes out of it. It's just I just love that.
And you were put together with a bunch of people from other fields and other interests, and
yeah,
you worked as a team.
Yeah, we were linked with a lot of different engineers and software developers. And my team that we were with, Team Bases, we were able to take first place in the Collider Cup, which is this event, the showcase through which brings together entrepreneurship, engineering, technology, and these different classes university wide. And we pitch our ideas and our solutions in front of different investors and different prominent people in the different industries. And we had the best pitch and the best idea. And it was really rewarding. It just showed, it felt good to be able to step out and do something other than sports. So it was really a fun experience. Really opened my eyes to just different paths that I could take outside of sports.
Yeah. Marcel, do you have a memory of something at UC Berkeley that had nothing to do with sports that was really changed your life and inspired you?
Yeah, it was really just truly learning about networking. I found out there's so many resources at Cal, a lot of alumni, and I couldn't tell you one experience because I had so many. I actually took the same class that Rambo took, sports tech, with Professor Torres and Professor Vivo, and that was a great experience. Just being able to create something and try to really pitch it to somebody and try to give them something to think about and explain it to them. So that was a really good experience, and just learning the ins and outs of the corporate world, if I may take that route, and everything that comes with entrepreneurship, because that's something I was really focused on when it came to my bachelor's degree. So my time outside of football at Cal has been great, and
Yeah. I get a question for you. It seems like for me, every day, there seems to be something new that's happening. I mean, whether it be another occasion of violence, or whether it's Justice Ginsburg passing away yesterday. So it seems like there's always something that's happening that's wanting to push me off. All of a sudden, I'm using this gesture like I'm a lineman, which I'm not. But it feels like it's pushing me every day. Something happens. So I guess my question is, how do you maintain your even keel? How do you deal with that continual change? Either one of you can just.
Yeah, I mean, there's always something. There's always going to be something. That's just, at this point, just growing up, you realize that's life. There's going to be something that happens. But this trying to figure out the difference between something that can be prevented and something that people are that are trying to cause something in your life. There's things that you can control and things you can't control. And so when you focus on a lot of things that you can control and things that you can help improve the lives of yourselves and improve the lives of others, then you realize, okay, this is going to keep giving me hope day in and day out. But you have to realize, like, there's going to be something that might everything can't be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect, even like a perfect day. That's really, it's more subjective than anything. But you have to realize there's certain things you can control, certain things you can't. You just got to focus on those things you really can control in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just bouncing off what Rambo said, just control the controllables. Life is not something that's a smooth journey. You're gonna have bumps in the road. You're gonna have things thrown in your way that you didn't see coming, and you just have to, react in the right way. You have to adapt, and really just be ready for anything, but still have a plan for everyday life. And I think that's what I try to do to the best of my ability, and that's what I'm continuing to do.
Marcel, you're.
I think the plan part that Marcel is talking, that's the biggest thing, and that's the biggest probably hurdle that people sometimes it makes moments feel a lot heavier on them when there's no plan involved, and that's just a very, very important thing. Even when you can't control something, you still have to have some type of plan. Part A, there's a plan A and plan B. That's what you hear a lot in sports, a lot of college sports is sometimes people say like it could be your plan A, but then you have to have a plan B, a backup plan, a plan B at the same time.
Marcel, does your foundation work and working with kids? Is that part of what keeps you on an even keel? What keeps you balanced?
Yeah, my foundation's still in the works, but it's all about the youth. It's all about, especially the younger generation, like the ages of kindergarten to fifth grade, and just really getting those ages, because that's when children are like really a sponge. They hear, listen, see everything that's going on, and I just really try to be somebody who gives them advice the best way I can, teach them to love each other regardless of what they may look like. And, just go through this life seeing people for who they are and, not the color of their skin. So they're not polluted by racism. And everything that's going on in the world, they need to know that it's real. They need to know that there's issues going on, and they need to be able to see and recognize that, and, like we said, react and adapt to it and plan for it.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to tell you guys, I'm doing a play. I'm doing two plays. One we just did last night about the situation in Belarus, which is extraordinary, and I'm doing this other play about a Black family, and I play a psychiatrist or a therapist, and just delving into that kind of world and finding out just how difficult it is sometimes to not only be here but to be Black here. It's a totally different situation, and the sort of pressures and fears, of being here. So let's move into that right now. There's obviously a lot going on with Black Lives Matter. I'll call it that, although there's a lot of institutions and people working that don't come under that rubric. So how has it affected you, this tumult, this all this activity and things happening? It seems to be, again, just getting more focused than it has for a long time. So how do you perceive it, and how do you deal with it?
Well, I've been affected by this type of violence to my people way before these recent events. Technology has brought a lot of these acts that are once in the darkness to light. But what's really got me hopeful this time is that folks of all nationalities, especially my white brothers and sisters, are standing up with us in protest against this type of violence in the Black community. So that's what's really been the biggest change that I've seen, and the best momentum that we've had that I've ever known.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now probably the biggest or the key theme for everything is really presence. A lot of times just being Black, you kind of zone out. You look into, like, you're not really present because you know that you have to deal with the everyday realities of what's out there. You have to deal with a systematic, institutional, and symbolic racism that's out there. And sometimes you don't want to deal with that. You want to, like, sheesh, another day I got to figure out how to make it out here, even though I'm already a lap behind. And now just everything's amplified. I think that there's still, there's been violence. There's been these type of acts against Black bodies, brown bodies for centuries. Just now we have the technology to finally see it. And now people can't justify saying, or going off what he said, she said, based off of the actions of like, say, police officers. Now we see, like, you can't be blind to this anymore. There's evidence out there, there's video out there that these acts are being committed against these certain groups. And so when people say Black Lives Matter, there's no way that you can be blind to the fact that, yes, we're trying to make sure that you know that these Black lives actually do matter. And so that's just the biggest thing, is that now we are in the present reality and have to face the fact that racism still exists. And there's people out there that are trying to keep on the system of racism in this country. And we have the tools to try to combat these systems, combat these acts now. So the momentum is turning from a moment into more of a movement, more than anything. So it's encouraging to see.
I assume with what's happening probably throughout your whole lives, there's been an element of fear. And certainly I feel fear myself. But I'm wondering I guess the question is, how did you get started in athletics, and has that helped you to find techniques and things to help you deal with fear?
Well, I would say how I started in athletics is it was always around me. My family is full of athletes, and what it taught me is to be fearless. Because if you are, showing fear or feeling fear, you can get hurt. That's the fastest way to get hurt. And it showed me that, like, when the pressure's on you, who you really are. And it showed me that you can make something, happen regardless of whatever situation you're put in.
Yeah, I think, Marcel, you can't have it. Like you just said, you can't have fear. That's on and off the football field. You can be nervous. You can have butterflies. You can be cautious to a situation. You can't have fear. You can't show your opponent, enemy, that you fear what their actions are, because once you do that, you lost. You've already lost. You can't. There's so many countless times, just even outside of sports, that there's so many people that are just fearless. Freedom riders riding into these segregated cities, these states, knowing that if they get off this bus, somebody is going to be waiting there with a bat. Probably there's someone that's going to be trying to blow the bus up. We're going to go through there anyway, because there's certain clauses, there's certain missions that you got to get done that you can't have any fear. And that it ties in. You learn that specifically from when you're a young age playing sports. There's another person in front of you that's trying to stop you from either scoring or trying to score. You still got to be fearless. You got to get to your mission. You got to make sure that you accomplish what you're out there to do. Can't have fear.
Yeah. I guess one people said the real bravery is moving forward, even if you do have those feelings, right? You do it. You can't let it stop you. Apropos of which, how does this whole pandemic, the COVID-19 thing, work into your lives? Is it something that has changed it a lot, other than, of course, the concrete things of what your day looks like, what your workouts look like, who you can see? How does that compare, dealing with COVID-19? How does that compare with being Black in America?
When it comes with life, things are thrown at you all the time, and you have to adapt. And this is something that we've never seen before to recent date. And it's definitely something that you have to be cautious about. It's serious, and we all know that by now. And, comparing it to, being Black in America, it's just something you have to adapt to. It's something that you have to realize and recognize, and move in that way.
Can I ask you if you've had family members, friends who have been affected by the disease?
Yeah, thankfully I haven't, and I hope that remains true.
Yeah, no one in my immediate family has been affected, but there's been some friends, their parents and some of their friends have been affected. So it's not a joke. I mean, it's kind of putting a spotlight on kind of our healthcare system in America. I mean, because I believe that there's a disproportionate amount of African Americans that are being affected by COVID-19 right now. And a lot of these people, they're not able to afford the care that they need in order to actually protect themselves from these certain illnesses, just like COVID-19. But it's something that we've never, or that we weren't, I guess we weren't prepared for, or we didn't allow ourselves to be prepared for. And it kind of just shifts the way that we think, because people, I mean, just a simple test of putting on a mask, it's not for just you, it's for the person next to you. It's for the 75-year-old that's, if they get this, it can be life or death for them. So it's really showing right now everybody has to be selfless and protect each other in a sense.
You guys were talking earlier before we started filming about testing. Marcel, you're on a pretty rigid testing system.
Yeah, so right now we're testing once a week, and it sounds like we're gonna start testing multiple times a week and get daily testing. Yeah, I've done the test about at least 20 times, and I've done every test: blood test, swab test, saliva test. But you know,
Did you do that thing that went down the nose, down into the throat? I haven't done that one yet.
I'm glad that we can do it ourselves now, because I mean that was a lot. That was a lot. So it's definitely it was definitely an experience. It was definitely an experience this whole time. But I do understand why, and it's kind of like you kind of get proud of yourself every time you get a negative test, because it's you know, you're doing your part. So
yeah, I'm just going back to work on NCIS, and this past week I had 3 tests, and we'll do 3 tests a week, all the while and you're right about that. Once again, and it comes at the end of the day for us. It gets sleep. Yeah. How's it affected you? Evan, do you do testing? Are you concerned? How does it affect your life?
It hasn't really affected me, because I mean, I'm doing most of my coursework online. I was living with my 2 brothers and my dad most of the time. So we were just in the house the whole time. So we were dealing, my mom, who's a school teacher and works for the city of Los Angeles, she has to do these tests. And she's seeing how it kind of affected some of the staff kind of mentally, just knowing that it's like another thing you have to do. It kind of reminds you every day that it's like the world's not where it used to be right now. So it's kind of a mental, these like physical tasks are kind of starting to play into the mental Rolodex of a person. So it's definitely interesting to see. You guys I know you have to deal with it. So kudos to y'all just having to deal with that, just to be able to do the things that you actually love. So it's crazy. It's different to see, different perspective from someone who hasn't really had to do it as much.
It's true that it's nice that you mentioned that we're doing the things that we love, and we have to do these other things in order to continue to do them. And it's a good way to think about it. It's a good way to keep positive about it, which is what we're talking about. Both of you guys, as part of your life plan, the plans we've been talking about, and also as part of how you keep yourself on an even keel, work with kids a lot. And I'd like you to, Marcel, to talk for a while about what you want to do and what you have done. I know that Elijah, your roommate, has a foundation, and you're working on doing one as well. Isn't that right?
Yeah. So, you know, where I really started is, you know, my pops always instilled in me and the rest of my family is each one teach one mentality. And that's really just, once you receive information, passing that down so that the younger generations can see it earlier and apply it. And what I'm trying to do with my football platform is get a big enough following for networking and, you know, just people paying attention and putting a foundation together for the younger kids in school, and make sure, you know, education comes first so that, you know, anything that follows is way easier. So that's what I'm focused on. I'm, you know, focused on starting in Oakland, but expanding to the whole Bay Area, because I definitely want to touch every city in the Bay Area and then hopefully expand upon that. So that's really my plan. You know, football has given me so many things and so many opportunities that I didn't even see when I started. And, you know, I owe it a lot, but I definitely owe the younger ones even more because I do have this platform and I do have this opportunity to do it.
Evan, you have anything to add to that?
Well, it's what Marcel said and the things that he's doing, just like Elijah, and it's just showing that it's just paying it back. Like there's certain people you meet in your life, like just for example, just when I met the Alumni Association director, Chloe Hewlett at Cal, and how she really instilled in me that there's different avenues for you to venture into that maybe somebody from South Central Los Angeles might not have thought of. And once you get into these areas, once you start meeting these people, you start understanding that, okay, this is how a different world that you didn't think of, then it's your turn and it's your time to spread that to the people that you grew up with, the people that are coming from the same areas that you came into, to let them know that there's different ways that you can be successful in life and that you can be successful in life. I think that there's overwhelming majority of in the Black neighborhood that want to be professional athletes. And that's a great thing to be ambitious towards. But if you don't make it that route, that's not the end of your story. That's not the end of your journey. There's so many different things. You can be lawyers, doctors. There's so many different paths that you can go towards. And it's probably our goal, and it's one of the goals I'm trying to set up for myself, is to show other people who grew up, who has the same kind of similar story to you, that, hey, there's different things that you can do in life to make an impact and to provide for your family. So it's definitely paying it forward and working towards doing that in a way.
It's so interesting that you've always had, both of you have always had this impulse to share and to help, and it brings in mind the athletes at the top now who are standing up and who are making their voices heard and realizing that not only do they have the right to speak out, but they have the responsibility to speak out. It probably started before this, but Kaepernick was the big thing that we all saw immediately, and what happened to him as a result. So, how are you looking at LeBron James and everybody who's and making their power known? I realize that I've been told that in Cal sports, especially football, the majority of the athletes are Black. So they have a certain amount of responsibility and power. And that's great. And now it's true in professional sports as well. So how do you feel about everybody? Well, not everybody, but the people who are speaking out and using that platform as a voice to make things known and better?
Well, I think those people, they have the biggest platform in their professions. And I feel like that's what me and Rambo are trying to reach as well. I just hope that, they carry it out all the way so that we actually see change this time, because I feel like, opportunity is at its greatest right now with the momentum that we have. So if you're going to really carry something out, you got to carry it all the way out, and it got to be right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a ripe time, definitely opportunity to use the following, use the platform, use the leverage that you have. I mean, you saw the NBA players, they're like, we're not going to play. We're not going to be, we're not going to make you owners money, and you're not putting forth the effort to contribute towards promoting the lives of people that look like me, people that are from the same communities as I, that we're trying to help change the world. If you're not going to put in that effort, we're not going to put in the effort to make any money. And there's definitely a leverage there. And I believe the players are starting to understand that. And they're starting to see that we're stronger together than we are divided. But there's also, just in the back of even my mind, just hoping that it continues, that you actually want to see change. You don't want to see 10 years from now have to go through the same thing. because these movements have started before either of us were born. These movements have started. You have the Muhammad Ali's, who was, against the Vietnam War. You have the Tommy Smith and the John Carlos, who were at the Olympics raising the fist just to show awareness. So while, the spotlight's on Kaepernick for things that he sacrificed, there's so many other people that have sacrificed before. And I think it's starting to get to a meeting point, starting to get to that apex of, okay, we're starting to understand that we have a platform together instead of just, if it's just one person or two people just doing something. There's a platform out there, and it's definitely a lot of leverage for players to understand that, hey, we can affect some actionable change now.
And it seems to me it's also another demonstration of courage and the ability to take risks because something's more important than what's going on right in front of you. And I think it gives me courage as well. To see somebody able to do that and able to make clear and demonstrate what they perceive as the reality, as what's really going on, because there's so much that is trying to tell us something else. And it's hard not to fall into that. We've been talking about a lot of things so far, and let me ask you guys: do you feel different about who you are? The idea is that we have to make every minute seems like we're somebody else. We progress right in life, and so what do you think about this? Discussions like these, how have you changed because of what we've been talking about for an hour? This is just like, I'm curious, and I can answer the same question.
I feel like conversations like these are really healthy. Just going through life and being able to have people to have these type of conversations with. I'm more comfortable the more that we've talked through this hour, and I feel like now we just, we all in a room just talking at this point, and that's how I feel. And, I feel like it's helpful, and I feel like it's something that everybody needs.
Yeah, I think these conversations specifically about what's going on in America and race and things like that, they're conversations I feel like we have with our families all the time, but just look at this group that we have right now. Is two Black men and a white man, and these conversations that we're having with someone like you, Joe, is more inviting because conversations have to happen with people outside of your race. There's allies that have to be able to listen to these things, understand your point of view, empathize, and then help you figure out what's their solutions. What can I do and things like that. And even at the same time, when you're like just being an African-American male, and then understanding just the work that someone like Marcel and Elijah is doing, you're like, okay, now how can I do something? Like, how can I help? Because there's people out there that are doing great work, and it kind of makes you feel like, okay, you need to do something too. And it's also giving props and giving the praise and the attention to people like Marcel and Elijah who are doing amazing work. So these conversations are definitely helpful and valuable and have to continue.
Well, I got to say, I feel much the same way. I feel like my day is brighter because of our conversation. And to a great extent, it's because of the amount of positiveness that you both have in the face of everything that's happening. And no matter what happens on the political scale, the national scale, that people are paying attention to what's right and what's real, and how we can best navigate our way through this very, very, very tricky and painful, but as you say, hopeful time. Yeah. I want to thank you guys for talking with me, not to me. And I want to wish you both the best of luck and let me know what's happening in your lives. Anything else you want to say at the end of this to me or to us in the larger community about anything? Just sort of like a last.
Well, what I would say to everybody that's watching, along with myself, going through this world and the events that's happening, we're all in this together. We're all fighting as one, and we're going to continue to do that the best that we can, and make sure that love is spread instead of hate. And you know, at the end of the day, we all the same.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, everybody, I mean, everything, there's going to be adversity, but, you know, tough times don't last, tough people do. But at the same time, sometimes you got to understand when it's time to listen, when it's time to speak, and when it's time to act. We're all humans throughout this. Skin tone shouldn't dictate dictate the type of life that a person's supposed to live. So happy to be part of this conversation. Hopefully, I hope people watching this feel the same type of way that we feel talking as they will listening, and really, really proud to be part of this series.
Can I just say amen?
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I'd just like to close this up with a little something from Elijah Hicks. And once again, thanks.
I'm listening to this conversation and it made me want to jump in. I appreciate you guys being open and honest and authentic. From what you're doing, Marcel, with your foundation, it makes all of us want to do more. Rambo, with you and everything you're doing in the business world, even when you were here at Cal, it always pushed me and inspired me to want to do more in that field. And even with you, Joe, during this pandemic, you've been part of NCIS for 17 years. I mean, when I'm done with the NFL and all that, I need some acting skills, and I need to learn from you so I could get on the TV and show my acting skills and stuff. So these talks are very therapeutic, and just listening to it, it really made me feel good. I really feel what all of you guys were saying, and I just appreciate these conversations because I think it's really important for people to hear. And thank you all for watching this episode of Who Are We Now? And for more information on this series and upcoming events, please visit the Cal Alumni Association website. Thank you.